Playboi Carti is a piece of shit, and guess what? Nobody cares. So recently I was watching this video from Anthony Fantano, one of the biggest music critics in the world, and he was talking about how Playboi Carti has new accusations, new allegations, new crimes set across from him about domestic abuse and many other things with his girlfriend or someone who was associated with him at the time. And in that video, Fantano is basically saying, why hasn't the hammer come on Playboi Carti? Why aren't people trying to counsel him? Why does it seem like no discourse about this side of Playboi Carti ever reaches mainstream media and kind of steeps in this like, if you know kind of rhetoric? And it's never addressed in the public manner that Fantano feels like it should be. And I'm here to answer that question from Fantano. The reason why Playboi Carti is not taking accountability or facing the hammer or facing the cancel culture is because he is the internet star child. And what does that mean? He's basically at the forefront of pushing the pop culture to new heights, to the point where until everybody is over his style and his aesthetic, nobody is going to really care. They're gonna kind of push it to the side because one, his music is good. Two, his music brings about a world that is missing a lot in pop culture, especially in music. A lot of musicians nowadays don't build a world around their music for their fans to get intrigued into and to want to be a part of it, want to feel like they're a part of a movement. And so one of the biggest things music can do for their fans is feel like they're a part of something. Especially when your fans are young teenagers, they're in this like period of their life where they want to feel like they're a part of something. They want to feel like they belong to people, like they're in a community. And Carti's music is doing that for Gen Z and Gen Alpha, especially in 2025, especially with his last release. If you see his tours, they're one of the biggest things in music right now, alongside maybe NBA YoungBoy, his only competitor really. So with that, his music being good, he has a world building, he has an aesthetic, he has a style, even down to the clothing and how you wear it says you're a part of Opium. And not only that, he has people who are, you could call him their proteges, and they're also putting out good music, and they're also expanding the world of Playboi Carti in that style of rage hip hop. So Playboi Carti doing egregious things like domestic abuse, being a former gangbanger. Who knows? He might still be a gangbanger. But, in his music, he talks about shooting guns, doing gang activity, things like this. It only adds more to the mystique of Playboi Carti and Opium. It doesn't take away anything from them because I don't think any Playboi Carti fan thinks that Carti is Mother Teresa. They don't think Carti is the second coming of Jesus or something like that. They don't expect him to be perfect, and any flaws about him, they attribute to why his music is so good. Without the flaws, the music wouldn't be as good. Without him growing up where he grew up and the things he had to do to get where he is now, the music wouldn't be what it is. And this is all part of the journey and the things of being the internet star child. Everybody's intrigued by every aspect of the artist. Now, there is other things at play that come along why Carti isn't facing the accountability of what he has done to people out there in the public. And to be honest, people are fed up with cancel culture. A lot of people are moving away from the left, especially young men, which happens to be his biggest demographic. A lot of young men are moving away from leftist, socialist, liberal ideals and moving on to conservative shit, which I wouldn't say Carti is a conservative figure. He definitely doesn't live that lifestyle. But and maybe deep down, maybe a lot of especially young men who aren't mature enough, I guess you could say, to realize what they should aspire to have in life, kind of look at Carti and saying he is the modern day rock star equivalent of living the young man's fantasy of what it means to like live a great life. He gets to have a lot of money. He's a creator doing artistic things. He has a lot of potential relationships with a lot of women who see him as a I don't know, like a sexual person that they can have intercourse with, whether it's because he's famous or he has money. But basically, he is living the young man fantasy of like having a harem by being a king, all that kind of, red pill ideology. Carti is basically living that at this moment, 2025. So with all that being played, and with the young men not wanting to hear woke leftist mentalities, of course they're not gonna, cancel him for something that the left deems irreprehensible. They might tribute up to him like, so what? This happens all the time in day to day. Artists aren't perfect. I separate the art from the artist. Now, this is coming from a Playboi Carti fan. I like his music. If he comes out to be guilty and, all the evidence is stacked up against him and it's proven that, yeah, he did the thing, then send him to jail. But that doesn't mean I won't still listen to the music. Yeah, you could say it's supporting him, but there's plenty of artists who have done just as many egregious things that never got, punishment. They never got, the justice that the victims deserve. So maybe I'm just very nihilistic to think that some things aren't worth fighting for, or even if they are fighting for, you're never going to really remove them from people's childhood and upbringing. Like, I mean, Carti was my high school years, and I could remember certain songs when they played at certain times. I'm just like, yeah, I'm never going to not hear that song, and a smile or a smirk won't ever come on across my face because it just brings me back to that time. Now, maybe I have some maturing of myself to do to realize maybe why I shouldn't keep supporting or listening to people's music. But until I hear convincing arguments, it won't be now. So you guys still let me know, am I wrong to keep listening to Carti even though he's doing these egregious things? Or do you think piece of shit people can still make great art? And great art is always going to be championed and put in museums somewhere, whether it's in the museums of your mind or in the reality, I guess. But you guys let me know. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell, and leave a like. And thank you for watching.